Actually, in my everyday life, I'm a farmer. But I get involved in all sorts of jobs that I manage to find each other day. Full-time or part-time, it's all fine.
We read the Bible first thing in the morning, before getting into our daily routines.
I discovered that I was HIV positive when I was 15, when the parents who had raised me passed away. My mom died last, and it was in 2004. And her children made it public on the barrier that I was HIV positive and that I was not their biological sibling. From that day on, I was stigmatized. In 2004, they shared our heritage and spared me nothing. However, I have always thought that these were my biological parents. Even now, they are still registered as my parents. Before, my parents didn't allow me to go to the hospital myself. They would pick the drugs for me, and they always told me that those were intestinal medications. They would spoil me and trick me into taking the medications regularly. When I found out that I was HIV positive after their death, I then took it upon myself since no one else could do it for me. The neighbors had helped me to integrate cooperatives and they found me a shelter. In 2005, I was in one of the cooperatives, then I was sharing one compound with 2 other families. I had never felt so stigmatized before. In front of my house lived one family that had young children. They used to wash clothes almost every day. The wife has always warned me that I should never hang my clothes on their rope. And I asked why. She says it's just like that. And I thought it's just because they do laundry often. One day, when there was no one in the compound and the rope was free, I took the occasion and washed my clothes. I hung them all over the compound and on the ropes and even on the trees. When the father came back that afternoon, he threw all my clothes on the ground with rage. And he shouted at me that they have warned me so many times that they cannot share the same rope as me since I have HIV. In my anxiety, I asked him if he really thought HIV was transmitted through things like clothes or food. I picked my clothes up and put them back on the rope. And I was really angry. His reaction was quick. He got physical and started beating me. I fought back, but he was stronger than me.
In my daily life, I've never really encountered stigma within my own family. However, it happened so many times at school. One day, I returned from the hospital and forgot to keep my medication at the monitress's office. One pill fell on the desk, and the teacher told me to pick it up before he showed it to the whole classroom and said, "This is a pill for an HIV positive person, and you're the only one who sits here." My classmates were all shocked and they kept asking me, "Is it true? Is it true?"
My name is Munyanziza Jali. I was born in Gicumbi district, Rukomo sector. I am married and have no kids yet. Daily, me and Jody, my wife, read the Bible first thing in the morning before getting into our daily routine. On work days, we wake up to our daily activities. I first get grass to feed the cows, or sometimes work the land when we have things to plant. It has now been 10 years since the day I discovered I am HIV positive. Despite the counseling I had received at the hospital, it was hard for me to accept the fact. I even cried. I dropped out of school in 2007. Day after day, though I regained hope in life. When I wanted to return to school in 2008, my family refused, saying it's impossible since I'm HIV positive. For them, rather than paying tuition fees, they advised me to invest that money for something that could give profit. I thought they would make up their minds. To my surprise, and I had to escalate the issue to our district officials. They met my family and discussed my situation. They convinced them to let me go back to school and pay my tuition fees. I first heard about RRP in 2007. That time, they were providing assistance to the members of cooperatives of people who live with HIV. The assistance they provided was mainly basic life materials. It was a hard time then. Mutezi Jolie is a good wife. She's a very social person and she can be very funny. We are never bored when we are together. I knew I was HIV positive when I met her, and she had the same problem. We live a normal life. Usually people think that life stops when one gets HIV. No one can no longer make plans to achieve things, if not at all. However, that is a poor mentality. I have plans to expand my activities such as farming and even to build a house for me and my family and even getting kids.
I've met a man. I didn't know he was married. We fell in love. We used to meet during cooperative meetings, and he declared his flame to me, and I agreed. We started dating. I told him though that I would need to finish my studies for any further project. Our relationship was good. We helped each other, and he always seemed to be a good person to me. When I graduated in 2012, he started visiting me regularly. We talked of wedding projects almost every day as we planned it. I found myself having sexual intercourse with him and felt pregnant. When I missed my periods, I was worried and went to consult a doctor. I found out that I was pregnant. I called my partner to give him the news before I could even get home. He broke up with me that same day. Out of choices, I started saving some money and buying a few things, preparing myself for delivery. I was 4 months pregnant. I was getting ready so that my child never gets to hear that I was embarrassed at the hospital. And that is how it exactly happened. I didn't have any problem at the hospital. I delivered just like as any other mother. During my pregnancy, the doctor was always there for me. He gave me all the advice one could need, and I really felt in good hands. The doctor used to tell me about the contractions and other signs. So I was ready and aware when I was about to give birth. I went to the hospital when the time came and I delivered normally. I gave birth to a baby girl and I went home and life went on. When an HIV positive person is pregnant, she must inform the doctors immediately so they can follow her up and take care of her. The doctors were there for me, for instance, every now and then. They asked me to follow up and carry out a series of exams for my daughter. At 1.5 months, the results were sent from Kigali and they were good. The second exam was due in 6 months, and when the results came, she was still HIV negative. We have one more test to go for. That is when she turns 1.5 years. By then, I can stop breastfeeding her. Before that though, I am advised to breastfeed her until she is 1.5 years and stop 2 months before the final exam.
Regardless of my health situation, I'm sure that my future is bright. I will graduate and get a good job. I'll be self-independent and cater for my family and myself, even my country.
Well, honestly, I have plans for 2019. When my child have grown up a bit, I would venture into a restaurant business. And if I don't manage to fund a restaurant business, I will alternatively start a small shop for my own.
RRP+, a network of random people living with HIV, is a non-governmental organization that was funded by HIV positive people in 2003. We started with 175 corporations. We are now 900 and plus organizations and cooperatives. We are thankful to the government for its efforts in fighting stigmatization, even though stigma is still an issue. But we are really grateful to our fellow Rwandans who understand that we are also humans. We'd also ask for the public understanding and assistance in welcoming our capabilities on the labor market. HIV should not be a status to consider when giving jobs or providing visa for students who want to go to study abroad.
In the past years, since 2000-2002, stigmatization was a pressing issue. For those who were HIV positive, they thought their lives had come to an end. And so thought those who live with them, be it their families, neighbors, or friends. This was due to the fact that HIV/AIDS awareness was still low. From 2004, when the ARVs were introduced, people started going to the hospital and counseling was provided about how HIV is transmitted. Stigma has quite decreased. In line with the government directives to prevent, protect, and reduce the spreading of HIV/AIDS. The question remains, however, have we achieved our goal? Our goal was to reach a point where no one is stigmatized or denied their right. On the behalf of the government, I would ask the people to encourage our fellow brothers and sisters who are HIV positive. When they've managed to accept their situation, one should not exacerbate their emotions by stigmatizing them. That is the only way to eradicate stigma. HIV positive people are human beings as you and as me, and they contribute to the country development.